Welcome to Baseball and Whatever with your hosts Justin McElwee and Vince Jankowitz.
Alrighty, everybody, what's up? Baseball and Whatever, episode 96. We are coming to you on a Saturday. Thank you all for listening. If you didn't check Twitter or Facebook, my daughter got sick on Thursday night, so Vinny was kind enough to hold off until tonight, and we're good to go. So, Baseball and Whatever, episode 96. This week, we got Cubs, we got White Sox, got some baseball stuff to discuss, and then Vinny pulled the old random generator out, picked 5 random songs on Spotify, 5 groups, I should say. Vinny, this might have been the worst one yet. This was bad. This was real bad.
You didn't.
I liked the two.
That bad.
No, there was one group.
This wasn't Tyler the Creator bad. That one was.
There was
that one was so bad that was rough.
There was one group in particular. I still have not found a song of theirs I like. That
Don't tell me it's
Migos. It might be. It very well could be. So we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that. Well, I shouldn't say in a second. It's going to be a little bit longer than that. But yeah, so we are going to discuss that. If you are listening to the show for the first time, thank you so much. You can find us in a variety of ways. We are on all your podcast apps of choice. If you're on Apple, 5-star review would be great. Somebody wrote us a 1-star review and didn't even leave a comment. So I don't know why they're mad at us, but we would greatly appreciate it. If you already left a 5-star review, then tell a friend that likes baseball or is around our same age, likes talking whatever. We'd greatly appreciate it. You can find us on youtube.com/baseballwhatever. Tweet us at baseballandwhat, Instagram at baseballandwhatever, email the show baseballandwhatever@gmail.com, and you can always leave us a voicemail or text us at 1-913-808-3278. That number again is 1-913-808-FART. All right, there we go. Okay, so famous 96s, we got to see. We know there's no Blackhawks that wore 96. There's no Bulls that wore 96, so we're down to Cubs, White Sox, and Bears. I cannot think of any.
No
Cubs
White Sox either.
No White Sox. All right, I will be honest. I can't think of a single Cub that wore 96. So you're going to have to indulge me, Vinny. Who wore
there
96?
Are 2.
Really?
In 2001, 2021, we had Mr. T-Pain himself, Tyler Payne, wore 96.
I have no recollection of who that person is. No clue.
The all-star pinch hitter and catcher Tyler Payne?
No.
I think didn't they? Well, I think it was was it last year they set the record for the amount of people that actually different rosters they had last year.
Yeah,
I think they had around 69 or so.
That sounds about right.
But yeah, Tyler Payne, pinch hitter catcher, came up and played for the Cubs in one game. So he decided to wear number 96. Okay. And before that, it was Mr. Bill Vosell in 1950. So, yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, there you go. Cool.
That's the Cubs, and moving on to the White Sox. You said White Sox, and now I'm thrown off.
Throwing everybody off.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
And we're doing this on a Saturday, so this is really throwing me off.
All messed up. Yep.
It's number 96 for the Bears. Anybody? Got anybody? There should be at least one. Big
one
name
that I
wore
know, or just
recently.
Not Alex Brown wasn't 96, was he? Oh,
yes,
wow.
He was.
All right, sweet,
but
excellent.
Someone more recent, I would say, wore 96.
Okay, I have no idea then. Wait, what
Akeem
position?
Hicks.
Oh,
Akeem Hicks.
I forgot about Akeem Hicks. Okay.
Let's see here. And also Armand Watts has recently worn it. I think he was. They have Akeem Hicks down as 22, but I guess I don't know why they have him as 22 because he wasn't with the team last year. Armand Watts wore it this year. Before that, Jarvis Jenkins. Do you remember Jarvis Jenkins?
No, not at all.
No, big guy in the middle. I remember him a little bit. Played one season. Do you remember Jay Ratliff?
Yes, I do. He came over from, was it Dallas? Was he a Cowboy at one point? Okay.
Was the Cowboys.
Yes.
I think it was the Cowboys. Or actually, it was the Cowboys. He also wore number 90 with the Bears. But yeah, he did come over with the Cowboys.
Okay.
And before that, it was Alex Brown was the other notable one. He's the biggest one.
Yes.
In the list of 96s. And the other notable 96 was Mr. Albert Fontenot. Believe it or not, that is the
brother?
No, it's his godfather, actually.
No, you're messing with me.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I always do,
so.
Justin.
Right,
you are catching on. By number 96, you have caught on that
All right.
that I am always messing with you when it comes to players from Chicago's history.
That is true. All right, cool. Well, thank you, Vinny. All right, we do have a couple things to mention about our text, tweets, and YouTube comments. We do have a ton of new subscribers. We're up to 204 total, which is insane. The other couple weeks ago, I was like, oh man, I wonder if we can get to 200 before our second year anniversary. And by that point, we were at like maybe 170. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen. So, but Greg's putting in overtime. We'll talk about that in a second. We have new subscribers: Misa, Little Mama 30, Colton Bradley, Landon Knotts, and many others who have their privacy settings turned on. So thank you for subscribing. And then Vinny, your mom wrote in with her Arnold movie list. Would you like to give that a read?
Sure, in no particular order, she lists Terminator 1, Terminator 2, True Lies, Eraser, and Kindergarten Cop. All great movies. Good
movies. Yeah, if you have only watched this episode, or the Arnold episode on YouTube, which last time I checked, it had like almost 80 views, which is good for us. So if you want to hear the actual Arnold quotes, though, that we were giggling like little school children about, listen to the audio version on the podcast feed, and you can hear I put in a bunch of the sound clips, which was a lot of fun to do. So check that out if you'd like to hear us laugh about Arnold. What was the line? Are you a farmer? Would you like a couple of acres? And then he kicks the guy. Would you?
Yeah, that's great.
So if you want to hear that quote, and then compare it to our quotes of us trying to do those quotes and hear how bad our Arnold impressions are, download the audio version.
They were terrible.
That would be great. They were pretty bad. All right.
Although those were your best impressions, though, I should say.
Yes, that's the best I can do is Arnold. It's a low barrier to entry, though, I think. All right, Vinny, you want to jump and hit the music to What's New With You?
Sure.
All right, let's get this thing started with the What's New With You segment.
How you doing?
Where Justin and Vinny give you their random thoughts and reviews on any TV, movies, or video games they saw this week, as well as their thoughts on just about anything.
What are you up to?
And of course, their great takes.
I love it!
Their bad takes.
That's terrible.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
And their hot takes.
Is it me, or does it smell like up dog in here? What's up, dog? Nothing much. What's up with you?
All right, so this week, in this particular segment, we're going to find out what's going on with Vinny, what's been happening this week. We also got an update from Greg as well, and we have a Mando recap because we both watched this episode of Mando for this week, so we'll talk about that. But first, Vinny, the first thing on the outline you have that you are out of shape. Please, feel free, divulge what's going on.
So you remember, like, back when we were both probably, I mean, you were an athlete back in the day. Yeah. I was, I don't look like it, but I was an athlete. I used to call myself one back in the day. But you remember,
swimmer, soccer player? What else? You did some, were you?
I tried. Tennis. I tried at all those. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, sure. But back in the day when you would get done with like a hard day's practice or a game or like a tournament, and you were playing games all day, like you'd wake up either in the middle of the night from a leg cramp or something like that. Like they were terrible, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
That ever happened to you?
Yeah, occasionally. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not in any sort of peak physical condition, but I still get leg cramps, not from doing physical activity, but from the foods I eat. Last week I had Jersey Mike's and I also had Buffalo Wild Wings, and the next morning I woke up to the worst leg cramp of my life. It was sad and pathetic.
Would that be like from the sodium content? Like
yes, that would be from the. I mean, have you looked at the sodium content for Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yes.
I mean, it's bad. And then I went to Jersey Mike's for the first time, and of course I got it done the Mike's way. And so like they put all like the salt and stuff on it, and that really did a number on me. I was not prepared.
Yeah, Jersey Mike's is good. I love their turkey. I usually get their turkey on like wheat or their turkey wrap. It's pretty good. I used to get Mike's Way stuff, but
it was really good.
I've switched out Mike's Way, and now I just get like jalapeno peppers or whatever their spicy peppers are on it instead. So that's my go-to.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I haven't gotten leg cramps lately, but I've noticed like the days that I do weights, which is lately hasn't been as many because I've been too tired from work. But like a full 24 hours, and then like the next night I am so sore, and I don't know. Apparently that's normal, but I don't remember that being a thing when I was a kid playing sports, but I don't know.
Yeah, I always remember being sore the next day after doing weightlifting.
Yeah. And it's
that's still seared in my mind. That's why I don't lift weights anymore. I don't want to be sore the next day.
I don't like it. I'd rather just run on the treadmill extra long, but everything I read says like, oh, you need to have a balanced workout of cardio and weightlifting so to be in shape. So
well, just do like body weight stuff. I want to.
Yeah.
You don't need to do like.
No, I know.
Like do a bunch of push-ups and squats and stuff like that.
I was for a while. I was getting really good at planking. I could do like a couple minutes of plank, like 3-4 minutes of planking straight. But that was. I go in spurts. Like there'll be some periods where I feel like I'm in pretty good shape, and then other times where I'm like, oh, that's not good. All right. Should we talk about Mandalorian episode? What is this? 5, 6, 6? I think.
I don't.
5?
I
It
think
doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. There's the siren, the sound saying
Spoiler
get out of
alert.
Dodge if you do not want to hear spoilers for this week's episode. So Vinny, this week's episode, holy cow, or holy guest stars, Batman. Cameos, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. We had Lizzo, we had Jack Black, and we also had Christopher Lloyd as cameos in this week's episode. I've seen a lot of people talking about how it took them out of the episode. I saw a lot of people who said they enjoyed it. And of course, it being Twitter, you're going to get everything in between. So first off, I'm curious, what was your overall take on the episode? What'd you think of the cameos? Did it take you out of it? What do you think?
I like the cameos. I don't know. Like I saw the exact same thing that people were upset. They were saying that the show jumped the shark, and I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, what they really jumped the shark because they had Jack Black and Lizzo in it? Like,
yeah,
really? They had such a small part too. I mean, they were in it for a total of maybe 15 minutes, maybe at the most, maybe 10 minutes. Like, okay, like I like Christopher Lloyd's character. He was great. Like, he was fantastic in that episode.
Yeah.
And so I really liked the episode. I didn't really think it took away from it. I mean, because Grogu did a little jump into her lap to get food because he's a child, like, yeah, people were upset. I mean, I don't get what people are expecting from this.
I don't know what people want anymore from Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, like, I just thought, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, it was funny. I saw Christopher Lloyd trending on Twitter that morning, and I'm like, oh, I wonder. And I clicked on it, and nothing about Star Wars came up. And I'm like, oh, at first I'm like, oh, God, did he die? Like, I got really concerned. Yeah. And then I didn't know he was in it. I had heard that Jack Black and Lizzo were in it because I had seen someone had posted a screenshot of something. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then, like, when the episode started, I'm like, all right, that's kind of a cool concept that Jack Black is his character. I think it was Commander or Lieutenant Bombardier was a former Imperial something. And he went through the same, program that the doctor got his brain fried in. And, they kind of stipulate about why this group doesn't have a military because he was a former Imperial. And I thought that was a really cool thing. I was waiting for the shoe to drop, and he was the bad guy in this episode. Lizzo, I thought was fine. Like, in terms of music, like, I like some of her songs. I mean, she's a very talented musician in terms of especially, like, all the stuff she can play. Like, she can play a ton of instruments. She's, like, classically trained. I think a classically trained flautist. I don't know what you call it. Flautist, I think, right?
Flutist? I would say flutist.
Flutist? Okay.
That's probably not right.
Fair enough. So, yeah, I thought it was fine. And like you said, they didn't really have that much screen time. I did think this episode was cool because it made me think of it was like a procedural, like, buddy cop show, like a Law and Order style.
Yeah.
Like, Bo-Katan and, Din Djarin going around solving this crime of who's doing the thing with the droids. I thought it was interesting that they showed, there's this, bar for droids to go to get oil.
I thought it was kind of cool.
It was cool, but then at the same time, I'm like, well, I guess that makes sense because these droids are just they're run by the government there to do all the jobs, so nobody has a job. But in my head, I'm like, okay, if that was a droid, for someone's house, they're not going to let them leave in the middle of the night to go get an oil bath or, whatever the hell they were. But, it was
the
cool.
program, it was more like a systems upgrade.
Yes. So yeah, I thought it was pretty neat. I thought it was cool. I thought it was neat that Christopher Lloyd was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And they exile him to whatever planet. But really, this whole episode was in service of them getting a chance to talk to the other Mandalorians that Bo-Katan had led before, but they were stationed outside the city limits because they're, like they said, this planet's charter said no military because they were former Imperials. And she just straight up challenges, I can't remember, Axe Wolves, I think was the guy's name.
Yep.
I can't remember. To, hey, I want my fleet back. And I didn't realize how big of a fleet they had. And I forgot that they had that Star Destroyer, or not, it wasn't a Star Destroyer, it was a smaller version of one that they had captured from Moff Gideon. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And then the only thing that surprised me was the whole, giving her the Darksaber back. I feel like I thought that was going to build towards something bigger, and then it was just like, oh, well, technically she defeated the guy that defeated me. So yeah, it's hers. And I get why he waited till that moment to give it to her. Maybe that was part of his plan altogether. But that part of me was like, okay, I'll buy it. I thought there'd be more to it than that. And maybe there will be, but that was the only thing that kind of caught me a little bit. But I don't know. What was your take on that?
I liked it. I thought that was kind of perfect because he never really wanted it to begin with. When he had it, he tried to give it to her and she said no. And we even talked about it after that episode, the one where she defeated that creature on Mandalore with the Darksaber. Is it technically hers now? What's going to happen with it? So I'm glad that it's a logical explanation. He didn't want it. He tried to give it to her the first time. She wouldn't take it. So now it's now he had a loophole. So like you said, was this his plan all along to be able to give it to her because he knew she needed that to rule the Mandalorians? And this is kind of waiting for this to happen to be able to kind of show it to them, and that way, if they're still working together, and she's got it, why isn't he dead? Or because I guess he would have to be defeated by death, I guess, right? Or
that would be
almost dead, something like that. So that I was perfectly fine with it.
Okay, so I don't know, I thought it was a pretty good episode. I don't think it was one of the best ones, but it was still good. And I think it definitely
continued the story too. So it's not like the Frog Lady episode where it did nothing for the episode, the story. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that at all. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. There's only 2 episodes left. That was episode 6. So we'll see how they start to wrap it up. I know it was it Star Wars Celebration was this week, so they had a bunch of new trailers for new shows. The Ahsoka show looks incredible. I'm excited that they got Grand Admiral Thrawn coming back. They have a bunch of characters from that
your
Rebels
guy
show. That man, and they call him the heir to the Empire. I don't know if you caught that in the trailer, and that's the book. That's the book trilogy all about him that is no longer canon. So I'm like, that is so cool that they worked that. They do a good job, sprinkling in these little things that don't matter anymore. Yeah, and that there's a shot of a droid in there, and I can't remember what the droid's name is.
Yep.
But the droid, that droid was hilarious on the show, that Rebels show, the few episodes I caught.
Okay.
So that'll be pretty cool. Yeah, there was also information, I think I sent it to you and Greg, about Daisy Ridley's coming back. They're going to do another movie with Rey. And
I saw that.
Okay, you know what? For the people that do enjoy the sequel trilogy, great. This will be for you. I'm happy for you. I don't know who those people are. Anybody who likes the sequel. I see what you did there. But yeah, I will probably not be there for that unless it gets rave reviews. I don't know what your take on that is, but
I'm a sucker. I'll be there. I'll at least be there for the beginning. I'll give it a shot before I complete. But I was like, I was really hoping they were just going to retcon all of that and just like kind of just push it away. Like, yeah, that happened at one time, but we don't need to. Yeah. Like the midichlorians. No one likes to talk about.
I forgot about that too. Yeah. So we'll see. There was also a lot of stuff about the new PS5 and Xbox games, Star Wars Jedi. Shoot, I don't.
Fallen?
That's not Fallen Order, or is it Fallen Order? Jedi.
I thought it was Fallen Order, but
Fallen Order was the last one. This one's Jedi Survivor. That looks really good, so I'm excited about that too, which I think we talked about a little bit. All right. That's it for Star Wars talk. Greg also holding down the YouTube channel. The amount of stuff that guy's putting up, if you are into MLB The Show, holy cow. He wanted us to let you know that the show released patch 1.02 that addresses some of the YouTube audience's concerns. So if you're listening, here you go. They heard you. So here's what Greg has to say. The newest patch fixed an issue that caused computer-controlled teams to wear the team's default home or road uniforms instead of the uniform chosen by the user while selecting teams. Diamond Dynasty had a fixed issue that was preventing users from equipping custom uniforms. Road to the Show had an issue where they were equipped bat tape style, now displays correctly when entering the game. The size of the scoreboard at Citi Field has now been reduced, and the big one for many was they updated over 500 player portrait images with the 2023 new photos. These images can be seen throughout the game in various areas, plus a lot more. Head on over to operationsports.com for more info. Yeah, if you like sports video games, I highly recommend Operation Sports. They have a lot of cool stuff there. So, Greg, thank you for holding down the YouTube channel for it. We appreciate it. All right, I guess we should jump to baseball, Vinny.
All right.
Baseball.
Welcome back to Major League Baseball. Sort of.
Taking a look at Chicago's two favorite teams and other happenings around the MLB.
All right. Season's kind of, going. I watched a little bit of the Cubs game today. They had a huge inning, which was pretty cool to see. In terms of standings, let me see. Where are the White Sox are currently 4-5. They're third place in the division. And the Cubs are 4-3, also third place in the division. But it's so early, they're only a game and a half back. They're behind the Pirates. The Pirates cannot sustain that, and the Brewers will not sustain that either. But, all right, let's get into the important stuff, though, for the Cubs. Seiya Suzuki is back in Iowa. He's on a rehab stint. He previously, on April 4th, had 4 at-bats as a designated hitter in a simulated game. He resumed playing in games on April 3rd. He was scheduled to have more at-bats and play defense on another sim game on this past April 5th. And bearing any setbacks, he would be sent to minor league rehab, which he was. He played in the game for the Iowa Cubs today, and he had, 1 at-bat, 1 run, 1 hit, 1 RBI, 1 walk. Had 1,000 batting average. So, way to go.
Perfect.
Seiya, apparently they had a doubleheader today, and I do not believe he played in the doubleheader, but in the second game. But he batted behind Christopher Morel, who was playing third base and batting leadoff. So they played the St. Paul Saints. Vinny, do you know what movie of our childhood features an actor wearing a St. Paul Saints hat? Trivia question for you.
Ooh, it's
not a baseball movie.
It's a hockey movie.
No.
Right?
No.
St. Paul Saints. It's not a baseball movie?
I mean, there's
from our childhood?
It's a movie from our childhood. There's a couple baseball scenes in the very beginning, and then it shifts to another sport altogether.
God, I have no idea. What is it?
In Space Jam, Bill Murray is part owner of the St. Paul Saints, so in the entire movie, he's got a St. Paul Saints hat on. Fun
Did
fact.
you know they had a collection of cards made for the team, and he's actually got his own baseball card. He's got a rookie card, and he's got I didn't realize it was the St. Paul Saints, but yes, there is a Bill Murray rookie card floating around out in the wild. And yeah, you can acquire it if someone's selling it, but yeah, it's definitely on my list of cards to
I gotta say,
acquire.
all this card buying you and Greg are doing has really got me wanting to, whenever I have free time, which is never, is A, to get out all my old baseball and hockey cards from when I was a kid, and B, I think I had texted you guys, I was literally, or maybe we talked about this on the last show, I was getting my skates sharpened at the hockey shop near my work, and they had packs and packs and packs of this year's hockey cards, and I was like, oh, okay, here's my question for you. Do you seek out, as a card collector, do you seek out stuff from like this year, or are you seeking out stuff from past years more?
I seek out certain players. I don't really, like, Greg got me a pack of cards. Like, that's like a great gift for me because I love it, and I got some good cards out of it. I actually got Christopher Morel rookie card out of it. So it was perfect. But no, I don't like to buy the packs because usually I get a bunch of crap that I don't want. So usually I'll just search for like individual cards of certain players that I want to get some cards of, that, cards that look nice to me. Okay. So I search certain players in singles instead of the pack of cards. Yep.
All right. Yeah, I was really close. It was only a couple bucks, but I'm like, what am I going to do with these, if they're not certain people I like, or if I'm not a fan of a certain team or player or whatever. But
exactly.
All right. The only other Cub injury update that I pulled that I felt was relevant was Kyle Hendricks completed a bullpen session on March 31st and is supposed to soon advance to facing hitters in the next phase of his throwing program. Hendricks was quoted as saying he is near the end of March. Let me try that again. He was quoted as saying near the end of March, he felt like he was back in normal spring training mode, just about a month behind the rest of the pitchers. His estimated return is May. So really, 3-4 weeks, if he doesn't have any setbacks. We'll see what happens there. I don't know. Like I said, Say is working his way back. He could be back by mid to end of April. I did have the box score pulled up from today's game. They beat the Texas Rangers 10-3. And it wasn't on Marquee, it was on FS1, and which was great for two reasons. Number one, the Marquee picture quality is not very good. FS1's is much better. But the reason I bring that up, though, is Dansby Swanson, man. This guy, I'm a believer, Vinny. He's
on fire right now.
He's on fire. So as of right now, he's batting .429. Hap had a great day today. Mancini had 3 hits out of 5 at bats. Wisdom did pretty well. Bellinger's struggling a little bit, but it's early. Nick Madrigal's batting almost 300 for in terms of contact. Nico's doing great. It's been so much fun. The few games I haven't, most of the games I listen to on the radio just because I can put it on, the Alexa or whatever in the house, and as I'm chasing Maddie around the house. But like today, I actually, when she was taking a nap, I actually sat down and watched some of the game, and it was so nice just to see there's so many more hits, like line drives and singles that are finding their way out into the outfield. And I know that sounds so silly and stupid, but previously it just felt like it was strikeout, walk, home run, or someone hitting into the shift, right? Like I'm loving. I hope they never go back. The game is moving along at a much faster pace. I think that's been great. There's been a few issues here and there we'll get into. I know, was it Tim Anderson was arguing with somebody about an umpire with that? I think recently he got thrown out of a game. So yeah, I'm loving it. It's been great to watch. It's fast moving. It reminds me of the baseball that not that I played in the majors, but Little League, where a lot of contact, and also that's just how the league was when I was a kid watching baseball and getting into it. So I'm really enjoying it. It's just been a blast. So I'm excited. The Cubs they definitely don't have as much power, so they're going to have to rely on this. But even like today, there was a couple miscues by the pitching staff of the Rangers, and they were able to work their way around the bases. So it was great. I'm all for it. So
yeah, I mean that's exactly what's supposed to be happening.
Yes.
With the rule changes. So yeah, it's good to see. I mean, even Eric Hosmer's been pretty good. He had a great pick at first base yesterday. Big sweeping pick. It looked phenomenal.
Yes, it did.
He's been serviceable. That's I think what Jed's wanted out of him, while Matt Mervis gets some seasoning in AAA, who's been playing well in AAA as well. So they have some power down in the minors. We'll see. Brendan Davis just is starting to, I guess, he hit his first home run a day or two ago. He got his first hit the day before that, so he's starting to coming back from that injury. He had that back surgery last year, so he's starting to come around from that. That's great to see. He's starting to get his timing back. I think they'll get power when Seiya comes back. He's going to be a big bat in the middle of that lineup. Mm-hmm. I don't know who's going down, who's going to be short one. I think it's going to be probably between I guess Madrigal and Master Buwani. I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think I said his name right, but that's okay. It's a lot of words, a lot of letters to pronounce. So, and honestly, they probably should send down the third catcher that they have.
Yeah, I still don't understand that whole. I know Ross was really happy about that, but I don't get it. I don't
either, and it's not like he's some hot prospect either. I don't get the reasoning for it. It's not like he provides. I don't know what different value he provides that the other two don't have. So to me, carrying three catchers, and they've been carrying three catchers for like the past, for the majority of like the past 5 years. I want to say they've had a three catcher roster more times than not. They had on their World Series year, they had three catchers, Montero, Ross, and Contreras. So they've done it, but at this point, it's not like he's a personal catcher for, like with Ross and Lester. Like there was a reason they had three, because Ross was John Lester's personal catcher. So there was a reason why David Ross was there. There's no reason why, what's it, Torrens,
Luis Torrens, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know why he's there, but they like him, and he's gonna take up a roster spot. But yeah, so it's probably gonna be Master Boney. Master Boney.
Boney or I don't know.
Buwani.
I don't know. Or and Madrigal's been playing, to his credit, he's not doing too bad. So like I don't know if they sent him down.
But he's just but the peripherals on Master Buwani are better than Madrigal right now. So so, and he plays more positions better than Madrigal.
That's
so
true. Yes.
We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, shifting gears to the White Sox, they are in a series against the Pittsburgh Pirates out at PNC Park. They also, offense caught fire today. They beat the Pirates 11-5, which is good for them. Luis Robert Jr., 2 hits today. Tim Anderson had 2 hits. Benintendi had a hit, or 2 hits, I'm sorry. Moncada 0 for 5, but not struggling too much. Jake Berger was brought up, though, because... drum roll if you've heard this before, Eloy Jimenez is on the IL again.
Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
Yeah, so I don't know. I as a Cubs fan, I feel like all the talent in the world but can't stay healthy. And I want to say this time he hurt himself just running the bases, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it was a first to third or something like that.
Yep.
I don't know for sure, but yeah. So like, I don't. What is, in an ideal world? What do you think? Let me see if I can rephrase this better. What does Eloy Jimenez. What does Eloy contribute this year in a perfect world? Like, what do you think? What is the best you're going to get out of him? Because I'm going to wager that this is not the only time he's on the IL this year.
I would like to think that you can get at least 30 home runs. I mean, you're expecting, between 30, close to 40, over 40 home run. I mean, if he's healthy for, the 100, 130 games or something like that, he's not out for a significant portion of time, then you're expecting 40 home runs from him. The problem is he's, you take him out of the field because you're worried that he was going to like run through a wall or hang on the wall again and, blow out his arm. Now he's hurting himself running the bases. Not like, now that's an issue, like, because you're not going to have him hit and then pinch run him if he's stuck on the bases because he didn't hit a home run. Like, it's starting to become an issue where this might just be who he is. He's just going to be one of those players that's injury prone.
Yes.
I don't know if there's, and that's unfortunate for him. That happens. That does happen in sports where a guy, for whatever reason, just gets injured, through bad luck, dumb luck, through, soft tissue injuries. It just happens. And that just might be who he is. So yeah, it's very unfortunate. But yeah, I in a perfect world, you're going to get 40 plus home runs out of him. But I don't know. He's already missing time 4 games into the season. It was the 4th game he hurt himself or something like that, maybe 5th game. So yeah, it's not good. It's not good for Loy right now.
No, not at all. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if whatever you get out of him is a benefit, because who knows? I don't know. I really It's a tough one. It's tough to consider, but yeah, go ahead.
Even with him being out, they still are putting up good numbers on offense, which is great. Which, I mean, it's great that the offense is starting to come around this year where it was lacking, but now you have pitching that's just absolutely abysmal right now. It's, God, I don't know, and it's not good. I mean, yeah, Lance Lynn had a good start, but his second game was bad, and that's kind of what you had last year. You had kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde with him last year, where he was decent, good one game, and just atrocious the next game. You got Lucas Giolito, who still is struggling, unfortunately. He had a good first game. He settled in after giving up a couple runs, but yeah, the second game was awful. Gave up I think 7 earned runs. Mike Clevenger, unfortunately, is their second best pitcher right now. I heard on the 670 The Score today, Bruce Levine was saying that that the White Sox should think about stretching out Reynaldo Lopez once Liam Hendricks comes back, and it's just like, no, like, he wasn't good. He was good 1 year. He was atrocious after that. He's doing fine in the pen. They also need bullpen arms. Like, their bullpen's atrocious. Like, Joe Kelly's been nothing since he's been here. Nope. Jake Dickman's been just as fucking awful. Like, you need to keep him. You need a reliable arm in the pen to at least set up Liam in the 9th when Liam comes back. So, yeah, stretching out Reynaldo Lopez and hoping that he's going to be as good as he was back in 2018, which is 5 years ago now. Like, okay, Bruce, you are a complete moron. Yeah. I'm sorry. That just was a terrible thought.
Bruce, I can't even listen to, what is it? Inside the Clubhouse? Is that
Hit and Run.
The score? Hit and Run, okay. Yeah, I have a hard
or maybe
time
it's
listening.
Inside Clubhouse. I don't know.
One's
one of
on
those
Saturday
shows.
and one's on Sunday. So, but yeah, no,
I think Hit and Run is Mark Rohde.
Oh, maybe that's right. That might be right. Well, you did allude to some positive news while Eloy's on the IL. Liam Hendricks, who had, I believe, was it non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, was diagnosed with it.
Yep.
They showed video. The White Sox posted video of him ringing the bell at the hospital. He's done with his chemo treatments. Everything looks good. So good for him. That's awesome. I want to say it was 5 months of treatments he said he had to endure. So that's awesome to see. And you just kind of, baseball obviously is secondary when that kind of thing is going on. But I'm sure he's excited to get back as soon as he can. Who knows? I don't know how long that takes to build up your body after going through such a horrible thing. But it was definitely a bright spot. From everything I've ever read about Liam Hendricks, is he's just a really good guy. Like some of the charity work he does, some of the social issues he fights for, which is awesome to see. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for when he comes back. I think that'll be good. And it'll slot everybody in the bullpen a little bit differently, and hopefully he can jump right in and get his stuff going once he's cleared to come back. But
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, White Sox and the Cubs I feel like they're both kind of in holding patterns. They're sitting almost right around 500 for each of them. We'll see how it goes. It's still early, but that's all I got for baseball talk. Vinny, you got anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
All right, let's jump to whatever.
Now it's time for whatever.
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 Whatever you want.
Whatever I want.
Whatever, dude. Irrelevant. Whatever, dude.
All right, Vinny, take it away.
Welcome to Whatever, Baseball and Whatever. This week we are doing Musical Mayhem, where we are picking 5 random bands and artists and groups, and, well, I guess or groups. They were all ors, not and, because we're not doing 15 different random artists. We are picking 5 random artists and ranking picking a favorite song that we listen to, and I guess sort of ranking them. We've been doing that as well, ranking them from our favorite or least favorite to most favorite of the ones that we had to listen to. This one was very interesting. The bands were the Migos, Snakehips, 21 Pilots, Gray, and Heart. And I think I only knew 2 initially from when I picked it, and it was the Migos and Heart. And I later realized I knew a song from 21 Pilots, but Snakehips and Gray, I had absolutely no idea who the heck they were. And this one was very unique, I would say. Justin, I don't know if that's the word you would put with it, as you did not like it. But now, how would you have described this week's Musical Mayhem?
How would I describe it? Starts off smooth, but has a horrible aftertaste. With Heart,
is that kind of like a
Heart and 21 Pilots being the smoothness, and then the other ones, oh God, not for me. But hey, I stumbled through it, and I tried to find stuff I enjoyed. So, but yeah.
Okay, well, with that great analogy, Justin, I will let you start it off with your least favorite of the 5 and your favorite song from them.
All right, let me preface this by saying, I do enjoy rap music. In hip hop, I love Snoop Dogg. I love listening to Dr. Dre, a little bit of Ice Cube, but I am more. I guess that would put me more in like the early '90s hip hop. It's not
'90s to probably like early 2000s. I would say 2000s, probably
yeah.
Is your range.
I'm not listening to a lot of hip hop. Even Ludacris, like I still like some Ludacris songs too. And that's a guy that I don't know if he puts out music anymore. But I'm gonna start with Migos. Okay, I tried Migos. Sorry. I tried very hard. I went through a lot of songs, and I just could not get into anything. I did, for the sake of Musical Mayhem, because this is a very scientific process. I did pick one song that I guess I could stomach for a little while, and that was Danger. I believe it was Migos from the Bright soundtrack. If you remember Bright, that was the movie with Will Smith on Netflix where he was like hunting down
demons or vampires,
and like vampires or like nursery tale monsters. I think his partner was like an orc or a goblin or something. It was,
yeah.
I heard it was horrible. I did not watch it, but
I didn't see it either.
That apparently it had a soundtrack, and that was on there. So it's called Danger. I mean, I don't like it, but it's the one I could tolerate. So,
okay,
yeah, there you go.
All right, that's fair. Okay. Actually, they were third. They were ranked third for me.
Wow.
I actually the one song I knew of theirs was Bad and Bougie. Absolutely, I love that song. And it's funny. There's a lot of when that song first came out, there was like a lot of dubbing that song over different. I think there was like a Jake Gyllenhaal movie where it was dubbed over, and then I saw they dubbed it over Sid the Science Kid, the PBS TV show, which I'll have to send that to you. The song lines up perfectly with the show's intro when he's like dancing with his friends at school. But I for modern stuff, it's okay. I noticed as I was listening through, there are songs that the song Bad and Bougie, that the rhythm and the flow of that song was in a lot of their other songs. I felt like of the ones that I listened, I could kind of like put that the words and the flow of the like Bad and Bougie in with those other songs, and I should have wrote down which ones they were, but I noticed that. But so I knew Bad and Bougie. I didn't want to just pick that one because I knew that one. I wanted to listen to a bunch of other ones and pick something else I hadn't heard of theirs because that was the only song I knew. And for the Migos, and it's Migos because there's 3 of them, Justin. If you didn't catch that, 3 Amigos, but just Migos.
I did not catch
so
that,
yes, not a big fan. But no, for my Migos songs, it was Notice Me, and that was featuring Post Malone. It was a very mellow song. I just like that because it was kind of different from their other stuff that they've put out there. It was very mellow. Post Malone, I see him like doing interviews. I've seen him pop up randomly in movies. He was in a Liam Neeson movie. I think he got killed in it. Liam Neeson killed him. He seems like a very interesting person.
Yeah, I've heard he's a nice guy, but I mean,
I've heard that too. I don't know any of his music, but he was with the Migos in this song.
I know the face tattoos. That's about it.
Yep. Yeah. He's a very interesting looking person as well. But yeah, I like this song. It was a really mellow song. So yeah, for me, it was Migos, Notice Me featuring Post Malone.
Okay.
Justin, what was your number 4 least favorite, or your second to least favorite?
Okay. My number 4 would have to be from, and I thought it was, I'm going to need some clarification, Vinny, because is it Snakehips or Snakehips?
I have no idea.
Okay. So
I would say Snakehips, but I don't know.
Enough.
Maybe it is Snakehips because they're an EDM band.
Yes. So, okay.
Or group.
I don't mind like EDM music. I used to listen to, and I don't know if this is EDM, but I used to listen to a ton in high school, a lot of the Crystal Method. Have you ever listened to Crystal Method? They got decent music.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know if they're EDM. They might be more like electronica, or it doesn't matter.
Techno?
They're more techno. I went through a techno phase in high school. I don't know if that's hard to believe, but
that was the Matrix thing, right?
It was. Yes, it was. Never mind. All right. Anyway, so this one was a song called "Don't Leave," and it was worked on by Snakehips/Ships. And another group or person called M.O., but it's the O with a line through it. I don't know who this person is or
M0.
M0, is that what it is?
Is that a 0?
I guess,
I don't know.
I've never seen it. But it's like, it doesn't matter. But it was fine. I feel like it's, I don't know.
What was the song called?
Don't Leave.
Don't Leave.
Yes, and as I'm looking it up now, it's not even showing up on my account. There we go. So yeah, Snakehips, and M/0. It was fine. I mean, it's clearly a remix. I feel like I might have heard the M.O. or whoever that M0. I might have heard that song before, so maybe that's why I gravitated to it. But yeah, as somebody who usually loves remixes, and I used to love mashups too. That was like my favorite thing, was to find good mashups of different songs together. It was fine. Like, I listened to it, and then it was one of those things like 5 minutes later, I couldn't have told you what it sounded like. I didn't stick with me at all, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah,
nope. I recognize the song. Okay, that's good. They Snakehips, Ships, whatever they are. They were my least favorite. I'm really not into the modern EDM stuff, and that's all. I mean, it all sounded very similar.
Yes, it did.
It was really hard to pick one because it was just like, what is this, a new song? Like, is this something like I would have to like keep clicking to be like, okay, is this a different song? What song is this? Like, is this something completely different? So yeah, this one was really hard to listen to. I did not like this at all. But for my snakes ships, sounded like a snake. I picked Burn, Break, and Crash.
Okay.
And yeah, it was kind of a more upbeaty song. And I forgot who it featured. It featured Anissa.
Yeah, okay.
I think is the way to pronounce that. It was just kind of, their music reminded me something of like a music that you would hear if you would go into like I guess I'd say high-end fashion show, or a fashion show, but a shop, like clothing store.
Like
I feel like I've heard that like. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that like when my wife dragged me into these stores when we're like on Michigan Avenue and going into all these clothes stores. Like I feel like I've heard all that music playing, and it's all Snakehips songs there. So yeah, I really couldn't. Maybe that's why I really didn't like it. I was just having like PTSD from going shopping on Michigan Avenue. But yeah, so mine was Burn, Break, Crash. It's an upbeaty song, but it's that music it's hard for me to get into. Yeah. All right, Justin, number 3 for you, and I have a feeling I know who it is.
This is Gray. Again, I think it's two guys that are, I'm assuming they're producers or remixers or I don't know who they are. But the song, again, this was another one. I kind of just gravitated to music that I had clearly heard in the past, and then they put their own spin on it. So that is the song The Middle, featuring Zed and Maren Morris with Gray. And that is one, I definitely have heard that song before. I'm assuming the version I think I've heard on the radio was this version with the Gray remix or whatever they call it. But again, it was fine. I think the analogy you just said about going into some high-end store that you don't really want to be there, this is the kind of music they'd probably be playing for there too. I liked this more than Snakehips, and I definitely liked it more than Migos, as in Three Amigos.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fine. I could probably interchange Snakehips and Gray pretty easily. But yeah, this was one I had clearly heard multiple times, so that's why I kind of gravitated to that. But yeah, that's my number 3.
Okay, I recognize that one too. Of hearing that on the radio or something like that. Again, the Gray and Snakehips were, now I'm saying Snake Ships. I have no idea. Now all I saw was Snake Ships. Now I'm Snakehips. I don't know. Okay. But they were like identical to me. I had, again, I couldn't tell a different Snakehips song from the other one, and I couldn't tell you if it was Gray or Snakehips when listening to them back. The only way I could tell is by looking at the artist of the song. If you would play two songs, I would not be able to tell you which one it was, which artist it was, without knowing. But for me, the Gray song that I picked was Dance With You, and that was with Laura Moreno. Moreno, and that song was kind of a redo of Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody." Ooh, it had a very similar. It was just with the Dance With You album, but I think it was in a movie, Netflix movie, The Royal Treatment. So if you've seen that movie, you would know this song. But yeah, that's the song I picked, and it was like really similar. I remember when I listened to it, I'm like, okay, I know this song from somewhere. Where do I know this song? I know I've never seen The Royal Treatment. My wife has not made me watch that yet, but yeah, I had to. It took me till about Thursday till I realized, oh wait, this is the Whitney Houston song. It was very similar to that, so that's why I picked it, just because I like the Whitney Houston song, and this was close to it. Other than that, I did not like Gray. They were right in the same level as Snakehips ships, whatever you want to call them. But we can finally move past because you've said both of them. Justin, what the heck is your number 2?
My number 2, I think I told you when we were texting about this. This was a band I actually saw in concert probably, I want to say I was in college maybe 15 years ago. I think it was before I was dating Erica, your sister. So it was Heart. It was Cheap Trick opening up for Heart and then followed by Journey. It was a great show. But Heart, I was shocked. I did not realize how good of a show they could put on because I knew that their heyday, I want to say, would be like, mid 80s, late 80s. And if I saw them probably like around 2009, I'm like, oh, they're probably, gonna not phone it in, but they won't be as good. But they had an amazing stage presence. But great show. But the song, I had to go with one of the classics. Although I will say the album you sent me that I listened to a little bit at work this week was from, I think it was called Jupiter. Was it Jupiter Rising? Jupiter.
It was Jupiter. Okay. Jupiter's Darling.
Darling, sorry, thank you. Which I was shocked. That came out in 2004, so I did not realize they have, within the last 15, 20 years, they were still making music. And that album seemed very different than from their classic Heart music, right? Like, it had a totally different vibe to it, which I would have never realized that was Heart had you not told me. But that was great. But I had to go with the classic for this one for Heart, and that is the power ballad from, I'm assuming it's from the 80s. I can tell you that in a second. But that would be Heart in their song, which came out in 1987, Alone. That is a gem. You hear that song on like an 80s movie. It's like, the main character's going through some shit and trying to figure things out. And then that song just starts playing. I think it was on an episode of the Goldbergs at one point too. So that's made me think of that. But yeah, just like a total like power ballad from like the 80s. And that is Alone by Heart. Good song.
That is a very good song. So I went all Andy Bernard on this one. I went deep tracks only.
Oh, wow.
And I listened to a lot of Heart, and quite frankly, when we started this out, I was like, oh, Heart, Barracuda, Magic Man, which is Magic Man is probably one of my favorite ones, and also would be a great closer song. Ooh. A lot better than what is it?
Don't you dare
Paul
say
Revere.
Paul Revere.
Yes, way better than Paul Revere. But no. So I knew their classics, and so I'm just thinking like hard rock, and then you got the the 80s ballad. But in listening to Heart and listening to their like full catalog, they're really talented.
They're very good.
I'm shocked. I sent you Jupiter's Darling. That was like they completely like morphed into like the 90s. Yeah, the 90s, the early 2000s, like kind of grungy type of music. Like I was shocked. I was like, what am I listening to? Like, who is this? Like,
it wasn't bad.
This isn't Heart. And so I mean, so going through all that, you can kind of listen. If you listen to their entire catalog, you kind of get like a history of rock and roll with them, because you get like the early, when they first arrived on the scenes, that the late 60s, early 70s rock of like Zeppelin, Rush. I guess Rush is probably 80, but the bands of like the rock bands of the 70s. You move into the 80s, you get the power ballads, you get Alone. You move into the early 90s, they had a song called Tall, Dark, Handsome Stranger that kind of gave me like an Aerosmith vibe. And then you get, the Jupiter's Darling, which had more of a grungy 90s rock feel, and it came out in early 2000s. But, listening to them, you could listen to their entire catalog and not realize that it's Heart, they were my favorite band this week. And I kind of like had them penciled in as like a high 2, like, oh yeah, because I knew of the hard, the classic rock songs, but I didn't realize how talented they were until I listened to them. I had a ton of songs that I really liked out of them, but I went with one that wasn't one of their classic ones, and it was The Perfect Goodbye on Jupiter's Darling. I absolutely love that. It starts off really slow, and it picks up about a minute into the song, and it just like kind of takes off and has that like 90s rock type of feel. And it was, to me, it was a phenomenal song. And yeah, so for me, it was The Perfect Goodbye by Heart on Jupiter's Darling. If you haven't listened to that CD ever, give it a listen, especially if you like 90s rock music, because you might like it. Another one from that one was I'm Fine, which kind of gave me like started off sort of like Spin Doctor-ish, and kind of I felt like it had kind of a Smashing Pumpkins sort of vibe to it as well. But yeah, I really like that. I can't say enough about them. They're an absolutely fantastic band. And they definitely, they've kind of gone up in my rankings of like classic rock bands, and like my appreciation for, they were always an iconic band because they are, they're the front women, they're iconic for that, for having, the two sisters being the front women for the band. Just seeing how they can kind of morph into the different like styles of rock is just fantastic. So Perfect Stranger by Heart was my favorite song.
That was definitely one on my honorable mentions as well. I really enjoyed that song too. That was one I had down. But yeah, I mean, like if you think about like I'm on their Wikipedia page. Like their first album came out in 1975. It was Dreamboat Annie. And then their last album came out in 2016. So, like, how many bands can you say have bridged the gap of almost, 50 years? And like you said, they did take a break. They had Desire. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Vinny?
I was gonna say, and just having different styles. I mean, Rolling Stones. They've come out with music, but you hear a Rolling Stones song, and it's like, okay. It's them. You hear like the bluesy rock in there, and it's like, okay, that's the Rolling Stones. Yeah. It hasn't changed, which is fine, but at the same time, AC/DC, the same thing. AC/DC is another one. You hear AC, you hear it, it's AC/DC, and it's like, oh, that sounds very similar to something else they've done 30 years ago. Whereas Heart, it's completely different. I couldn't believe that. I was absolutely shocked by it.
Yeah, so apparently they had an album, Desire Walks On, from 1993, and they waited until 2001. They put out a Christmas album, and then 2004 was Jupiter's Darling, Red Velvet Car was 2010, Fanatic was 2012, and something called Beautiful Broken was 2016. They took a hiatus, and as of 2019, they are back touring again. They're also in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which, accurate. I would highly say yes, they definitely are. So yeah. Good for them, Ann Wilson and Nancy Wilson, the two, the front runners of the band. But I think like you nailed it. Definitely a new appreciation because they to reinvent themselves, or not even reinventing, but like trying different styles of music as time has gone on from the 70s. Like that's, and again, as soon as you said Rolling Stones, the same thing that came to my mind was AC/DC. Like as soon as an AC/DC song comes on, it doesn't matter if it's one of the hits on the radio or if it's something on, the tail end of the, not greatest hits, but tail end of the album, whether it's Back in Black or whatever, it's like, oh, yep, okay, AC/DC. We're gonna do this thing. We're gonna have fun, but I know who this is. When you sent me the Jupiter Rising, not Jupiter
Darling.
Darling, thank you.
Jupiter's Darling.
Right up there with Snakehips. When you sent me the link to that album, I was like, wow, this is not what I think of as Heart. So that was really cool. That was really cool. So well done. Good pick on that one.
Thank you. All right, Justin, number one.
I enjoy this band. I think they're still fairly popular. I feel like for a while there was a little bit of a turnaround. People turn. I don't know. Maybe it was like the cool thing to say, oh, 21 Pilots, we don't like them. I like them. And that is 21 Pilots is my number one. And this is another one of their hits, but I just love this song because it's such a sing-songy attitude. Like at one point the song kind of slows down and they're just talking about like, I'm driving my car, avoiding potholes, because the government's not using my money to fill them with cement, which I love. And that is the song Tearing My Heart. I love that song. It's just a fun, gets going, bright, light, cheerful, happy, little rockerish. I love that song. That's my number one. My second, close behind, is Level of Concern. I really enjoy that song too. But yeah, Tear in My Heart is definitely one of my favorites by them that I still listen to this day. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so when we came out with this list, I didn't realize, I knew any 21 Pilots songs, and I realized I heard Ride before because I think it's on one of the FIFA games.
Yeah.
So I knew that song. And when I heard that and listening to their hits, it's like they're pretty similar in like the popular ones.
Yeah,
but actually listening to their full catalog, they're really unique. They're a very unique band. Very different styles on a lot of their different albums. I liked a ton of their music. I actually really enjoyed their Christmas Saves the Year song. It's kind of an eclectic type of Christmas song. But I enjoyed it. It came out in 2020, so kind of had like listening to the lyrics of that song and understanding like what was going on at the time. It was it was a good song. I really enjoyed that one. But my favorite 21 Pilots song was Never Take It. It's kind of got a little rock to it. And kind of drives. It was a good kind of pump up type song. And I found myself listening, like kind of like humming that song and like thinking about that song. It kind of got stuck in my head. So that one I definitely picked. But I had a ton of songs of theirs that made an honorable mention. But yeah, that one took the cake. Was Never Take It by 21 Pilots.
Nice. I think that's a good pick. That is a good song. I have heard that one, either streaming stuff on Spotify by them or Pandora. But yeah, that's good. I really enjoy, and especially for being a 2-man band. You don't see that very often, and there's no back musicians behind them. It's just the drummer and the singer, playing guitar. That's it. So pretty cool vibe. But yeah, they do have a lot of fun stuff, and like you said, some of their other stuff is a little bit more unique. I'm on their Wikipedia page. They have said, they have garnered 10 number one songs on the alternative songs chart, making them the artist with the 4th most number one songs on the chart, just below Linkin Park at number 3, which is crazy. Like I think of 21 Pilots as being a decent band, but I don't never really realize that they had that many hits. I think that's kind of interesting. So good for them. Very cool. All right. We have a few write-ins. Should we get to those?
Yeah.
All right. Unless you had any honorable mentions or anything else you wanted to share.
We don't need to go through. No. I mean, I got a ton, but no, we don't have to, especially for Heart and 21 Pilots, but we don't need to get through those. I'll start. Erica wrote in, and she wrote her 2 songs for this week was Heart. It's Barracuda by Heart. She said, honestly, it's the only song I know, which is I think that's their most popular one on Spotify.
Yeah. Yep.
And then she also wrote in Heathens by 21 Pilots. That was her favorite song by them. So, and that was a good song as well.
All right. Melissa writes in, she said, Alone. Melissa, I agree with you for Heart. That is a jam and a half. Heathens. Yes, I know her and Erica love that song. That was on the first Suicide Squad soundtrack. That's when that came out.
Okay.
Which I feel like was forever ago. Good song. And then she said, no idea who the last 3 groups are. Melissa, you're probably better off. But yes, those Heart and 21 Pilots, both good songs that she had there.
Yep. Pretzel Vince writes in,
Hey everybody, an old man's talking.
This was difficult. Outside of Heart, there were 3 bands that were 2 people that mostly did remixes for well-known singers. The 3 groups sounded the same, which is complete bullshit. I'm sorry. You could not be more wrong. You could try Pretzel Vince, but you would not be successful. There is no way. I know who he's talking about. He's talking about Snakehips, Gray, and 21 Pilots. Those are 3, because I don't think Migos sounds anything like the other 2.
I hope that's not one of them, yeah.
Yes. But no, there is no way you could say 21 Pilots sounds like Snakehips and Gray. I'm sorry. Justin, is that I know you like to be very neutral in your critique of Pretzel Vince, but
yes. I could see similarities with Snakehips and Gray just because of the type of stuff they do. But other than that, no, I think all the rest. I think Migos, 21 Pilots, and Heart are all very different.
Yes, and I mean, 21 Pilots, you clearly didn't listen to anything other than like the top hits on Spotify because they're all similar. They're all like a little like electronic, but I mean, if you actually listen to everything, I'll list off The Pantaloon, We Don't Believe What's on TV, and then Never Take It. If you listen to those 3 songs, you would be like, yeah, none of those are the same because none of them are the same. I mean, they have hip hop in their songs. They have like, it sounds, I mean, they have like an indie kind of rock vibe on some of their songs. I don't get at all how you can say that 21 Pilots sounds like Gray or Snakehips. I mean, that is complete bullshit. But I digress from that. I read that and my blood boiled when I first read that email, so I had to lay into him on that one. He also goes on to say, I really couldn't tell the difference between them, so here's my list from the bad to the good. Number 5, Migos.
Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
He said Stir Fry was his favorite song of theirs. Snakehips, All I Ever. I don't remember that one coming up. Number 3 was 21 Pilots, Level of Concern. Number 2, Gray, Dance With You, which was on my list. So good pick there. And number 1, Heart, Crazy on You. Classic song by Heart. But that his assessment of 21 Pilots, especially because he is a musician, I am flabbergasted by his assessment on 21 Pilots.
I'm not gonna lie,
clearly
the thought of him trying to listen to Migos, Gray, and Snakehips and pick a song he likes is just making me laugh so much. I don't know.
I do appreciate the effort and the work he puts in, especially for him listening to Migos, because I can tell you right now he might have almost died listening to them. I can't imagine him sitting there trying to actually sit through a Migos song. It was Stir Fry was probably the first one he picked because he probably was like, I could go for some Stir Fry right now. So he listened to that and goes, I'm not listening to anything else. I'll just write Stir Fry down. I was actually surprised that he actually could pick a Migos song. Although Migos, they're better than Tyler, the Creator, by far, I would have to say.
Yes, way more musical talent for sure. Yes.
Yes. But yeah, so that was Pretzel Vince, and he was the last submission. So Justin,
we're done.
We were at the end.
We're at the end. All right. Well, that was entertaining to say the least. I'm not gonna lie. Always curious to see what we're gonna find with Musical Mayhem. So we'll see when we we'll put that back in the vault. We'll see when we bring that back out. But yes, if you're still listening, thank you. Thank you for listening. You can find us in a variety of ways. YouTube.com/baseball and whatever. Tweet us at baseball and what, and Instagram at baseball and whatever. You can also find us on TikTok at baseball and whatever. Email the show, baseball and whatever @gmail.com. Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and podcast apps of choice. If you'd like, Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. If you're on Apple or Spotify, give us a 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate it. That will help us send the podcast out to more people. When people search for stuff, it will surface it more for us, which is great. And also, don't forget, you can text or leave us a voicemail at 1-913-808-3278. All right. Vinny, any parting words before we take off?
Nope.
All right. Well, we will be back next week, hopefully at our regularly scheduled time, if all goes well. And, yeah, we'll see you next week for more baseball and whatever. See you guys.
See ya.